Bien, la izquierda fuerte, va hacia adelante, ahora lanza, lo tiene tocado, el cascabel es valiente, quiere intercambiar, pararse ahí en el centro del ring, de dame que te doy en estos momentos.
Han pasado 9 asaltos con ese corte de Osejo, se para, lanza, tratando de intercambiar golpes con Osejo, y Osejo no rebaja, Osejo sigue atacando. El público disfrutando acá del cartel boxístico.
Se queja de un golpe de conejo ahí Osejo, golpe detrás de la nuca. No fue caída por golpe, sino por el envión que le hace ahí el peleador de raíces nicaragüenses.
No la detuvo. Ahí está el golpe, ahí está el golpe.
Victoria para Osejo.
Se están descalificando la lanza.
Descalificado. Demasiados golpes de conejo, yo está bien.
Be careful what you wish for because it can become a reality.
Yeah. The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. All right, so I finally get a chance to talk about this fight, which has really been, this video has been well overdue for 3 weeks, because there was a fight, for those of you who know, for those of you who don't know, there was a fight in May 11th out in Nicaragua. And as many of you guys know that I went to Nicaragua for this particular fight. Now, I didn't speak about this fight because there was so much blatant corruption and foul play involved that I needed time to marinate on what happened and rewatch the fight and break it down and just take some time to cool off. And I'm taking that time, and I have my own perspective now, a better perspective, right? So the fight was between Erick Lanzas Jr. and 20-year journeyman Eusebio Osejo. Southpaw, been in the game for a long time, fought a lot of names, right? Buffalo Boxing Promotion. Shout out to Rosenda Alvarez for the opportunity, all that good stuff. We appreciate the opportunity. But it was a disqualification loss for Erick Lanzas Jr. Now, I really cannot think of a time, at least in the last couple of years, where a fighter has been bailed out for wanting to quit. This Osejo quit in this fight multiple times. I mean, multiple times. Trunks high as hell, so anytime Erick lands a good shot to the body, he's complaining about a shot being low, which it wasn't low. Looking at the referee's deducting points with no warnings. Then he's coming in with his head, and Erick, you know, as you guys saw in the beginning of the video, Erick just cuffs him, doesn't even punch him. Then he's saying, oh, he punched me in the back of my head. Referee disqualifies Erick with less than 90 seconds on the clock in the last round while he was up on the cards. Just absolutely shambolic, disgraceful stuff in Nicaragua. So I want to break the fight down, but I really want to paint the picture for you guys of just the totality of what it took to get this fight, the camp, all that stuff, so that there's a full picture of Erick Lanzas Jr. and somebody properly tells the truth about Erick Lanzas Jr. because this is a guy, Erick Lanzas Jr., really and truthfully got potential as a fighter. I feel, I really believe, you know, some fighters don't have the luck of the draw when they come on the pros. You know, not everybody's Inoue or Canelo or Joshua where the red carpet gets rolled out. There are fighters that have to, you know, they don't get a chance to build their career properly, right? And he's one of those guys. He's one of the many fighters that fall under that umbrella. Because if you look at Erick Lanzas Jr.'s career, I mean, we're talking about, we're 13 fights deep now. You're looking at, of those 13 fights, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those 13 fights. So you're talking about more than half his career were fights in Colombia. And if you guys know anything about boxing, those fights in Colombia are just pad your record fights, you know, really. And you don't get anything out of those. You're not going rounds or doing anything in those fights. So really, you don't even have, in my opinion, he don't even got 10 fights. He got like 7 fights, right? Honestly, that's how I feel. And he fought a guy who had 60 fights. That's the truth. So he hasn't had a chance to have a real career because the previous people that promoted his career, they just didn't put that investment behind him, and that's not how they do things with their fighters. They pad the records up and they just throw in these big fights, and normally those fighters lose. And that happened to him when he fought Jay Perez. But it was a minor setback for a major comeback, right? So He had a couple. He had a couple like he had one Stay Busy win last June, and then since then it's been so difficult to get Erick Lanzas Jr. a fight, because what I've learned, guys, in boxing is that even on the club show level, even at the prospect level, fighters teams, I don't want to say fighters, but fighters teams, their managers are absolute cowards, bums. They don't want to take tough fights. And you're gonna say, BT, well, how do you know this? How do you know that fighters teams are bums? I know this because I was trying to help Erick get a couple fights, and I was in negotiations to get Erick a couple fights on some club show fights, and they fell through just because, I'm not gonna say no names, but just because some guys are cowards. They don't want to fight. So it is what it is. It's just how it goes, right? But you know, I felt very confident about Erick going into this fight, and I still remain confident about him despite the loss. I mean, this whole fight began way before fight night, because you know, Erick was out there in Vegas with me back in February. I was taking him gym to gym in Vegas and LA for sparring. He sparred like, what was it, like 37 rounds in about a week and a half, 32 rounds, 30 plus rounds in a week and a half. He sparred guys like Jorge Zepeda. He sparred guys like the Mongolian, Ted Sendet Erdenbat, the guy that broke Ryan Garcia's ribs. He did 8 rounds with him out there at 10 Goose Boxing Gym in LA. It was great work. He sparred Adrian Serrano. He sparred Jahan Ingram at Bones Adams Gym. I mean, Jersey Susanna, who's a Mayweather prospect. So there's plenty of guys. He got good work, and he really sharpened the blade in a major way. Erick leveled up. You know, he was also, you know, training alongside Angelo Leo. I was doing road work with him. I was running with them back in February as Angelo was preparing for Baez, Eduardo Baez. Erick was there. We did road work together. We watched boxing together. He trained with Angelo. They worked on their footwork and stuff like that. So Erick leveled up. He leveled up in a major way, getting better at sparring and being around a world champion like Angelo, right? So I felt like he had taken some great steps in his career. The hard part was just getting this fight. So he got this fight against this journeyman, not even because of me, right? Not because of me, because of his dad, Erick Lanzas Sr. His dad and his trainer, Erick Lanzas Sr. He had went down to Nicaragua about a month or so before this fight happened, and he talked to people down there, and I guess got in contact with Rosenda Alvarez. They made this fight happen. So it was a really important fight, and I was happy it got made. And you know, Osejo, now kind of getting into the fight, because I wanted to set the stage for you guys. Osejo is a fighter that is very well experienced. This is a guy that's been professional since 2003, right? So 20 plus years in the game, fought all kinds of names. You know, names that you guys, the boxing fans, will know. Guys like Jezreel Corrales, fighters like Kiko Martinez. Fought Kiko Martinez to a draw. So this guy's no slouch. Fought Kiko Martinez to a draw. Lost to Evgeny Gradovich by split decision. Took him, you know, gave him everything he could handle. And he even dropped Evgeny Gradovich. And we all know Gradovich back in the day was a top fighter. You know, took Zelfa Barrett the distance. You know, fought Rene Alvarado. Fought Francisco Fonseca, got stopped by him. Freddie Fonseca, Oliver Flores, you know, just a lot of names. I mean, just so many names he's fought, right? And just getting even more into the fight, fought Johnny Gonzalez as well, took him the distance. Christian Mijares took him the distance back in the day, right? So obviously he's towards the end of his tenure as a fighter, right? But Osejo, when you look at his career, when you really look at this is a guy that has a history of, you know, head clashes, has a history of being a rugged fighter. You know, he got deducted a point for in the Christian Mijares fight years ago. Head clashes are a thing with him in his fights. There's always chaos in this guy's fights. He's one of those type of fighters. Hitting on the break against Rene Alvarado. I mean, that's who this guy is. That's who Osejo is. So with Erick, like I said, guys, Erick may have had, 12 fights on his resume, but in my opinion, really only had like 7 fights, because I don't count Columbia fights. Those guys get hit and they fall down. So he's finally got 60 fights basically in his 8th pro fight, really, even though it's really his, 12th or 13th fight, whatever it is. So with that being said, and with that firmly being established here on True School Sports, let's get into the fight, because I needed to really set the stage and paint the picture for you guys of what happened in this fight. And I'll leave it for you guys below because I want you guys to watch this fight. And when you do watch it, score every round, watch it closely, and let me know. I would like second opinions because I think Erick was done wrong. But my round by round assessment of this fight is as follows. So Erick was dominating this guy in the first round. That did a great job landing body shots, setting a good tone with just him able to land those shots to the body. I thought he was showing a good blend of speed, footwork, and defense in the first round, and just a great start, right? Great start. There was a head clash, so already you're seeing Osejo's ways show up in this fight. You know, being into southpaw fighting orthodox, he's gonna have head clashes, but it started right in round 1, right? So already the fight's already rugged in the first round, but Erick won that first round, right? Osejo then starts complaining in the beginning of round 2 about a clean body shot. I mean, again, this guy's trunks are all the way up here. It got to the point where the referee had to literally pull up his trunks for him in the middle of the rounds. In fact, in that round, the referee had to pull up Osejo's trunks, was it twice? Twice during the round because his trunks and his cup weren't like in the right places, and you know it was crazy. It was crazy, right? So anytime Erick landed a shot on the body, it was looked at. This guy was saying it was low, and he wanted to complain, and that's what it was. So it is what it is. I thought Osejo did have some good offensive spurts in the round, letting his hands go, countering Erick. You know, and then, you know, so I thought offensively, I actually thought this was probably Osejo's best round of the entire fight, this second round. Erick then, again, lands a shot on those high trunks. It sent Osejo to the ground. It was a clean body shot. Mind you, we're only in the second round. There's been no warnings to police any of this stuff. There's been no warning because you're supposed to give a warning to a fighter. And Erick doesn't get that benefit. You know, automatically, the referee deducts a point. Complete bullshit, right? Now, this second round is also a key round because Erick had told me after the fight that basically his right hand, he hurt his right hand in this round. I think he fractured his right hand. I'm pretty sure he fractured his right hand from what he told me. He had to get it checked out and everything, right? So the point deduction, I thought Osejo actually won that round. And with the point deduction, that makes the round 10-8. So Osejo is now up after 2 rounds because of the point deduction. So Erick's in a not so good spot going into the third round. In the third round, Erick, when he wasn't in a great spot, again, I thought this was one of his best rounds of the fight. Erick hurts Osejo in the third round with the left hook to the head. He tightened his defense up a bit more on that high guard. Osejo's throwing a lot of punches, but most of it's hitting the forearms and the gloves. Not much is getting through. So a very strong round from Erick hurt this guy badly. Okay? So at that point, it's even going into the fourth round because Erick now wins that round. It's even, right? Now that cancels out the point deduction, right? So you go into the fourth round. Things are settling down a bit. Erick seems to be getting comfortable. He's doing like little bolo punch movements. Again, Erick going to the body, going to the head, you know, just really, I think, bossing the fight with his footwork, his foot placement. Just really good stuff from Erick there in round 4. I thought he won that round as well. So now Erick is up. Erick is up now, and then we go to the 5th round. Now, with the 5th round, Osejo, I think, gets a little frustrated. He starts to taunt Erick to try to get to him. But it's not working. Erick is fucking him up in the 5th round. Left hooks upside down his head. Just a clear Erick Lanzas Jr. round. He wins round 5, right? Round 6, Erick is now Osejo is getting frustrated. Osejo is starting to really march forward, get on that front foot, but it's to no avail. Erick is boxing and turning him, making him miss, making him pay, just teaching him a lesson in the sweet science. The Nicaraguan fans that were there for Osejo cheering for him, I think they're cheering, but not a lot is landing. Erick is beating the shit out of this dude in the 6th round. So he's up now, what is that, 2 rounds? 2 points? So round 7. Osejo's getting his ass whooped some more, and in the last minute, he gets hit cleanly on the belt and starts complaining to the ref. Again, the ref shamelessly takes away another point from Erick without warning. Erick still whoops his ass even after this guy gets up. I actually scored this round 9-9, so Eric's lead is still intact. But even if you score this round 10-8 in favor of Osejo because of the point deduction, Erick is still up by a point heading into the 8th round. And really, when I went back and I watched the fight at this moment, I thought that, because there were some instances early in the fight where Erick and Osejo were taunting and talking to each other, and Erick was talking as well. I thought the referee didn't like Erick talking. I felt like, he don't like talking, because I know in Nicaraguan culture, generally speaking, Nicaraguans don't talk, and they don't like to talk, and they don't like talkers. So I think because of culturally, I think that, and I think, like even with the Nicaraguan media, they even though Erick was born in Managua, Nicaragua, and that's where the fight was, he grew up the majority of his life in here in South Florida in Homestead. So they don't look at him as a Nicaraguan, they look at him as an American, right? And so I think that played a role, and I think that perspective is the same perspective the referee shared going into the fight. And that's why I think Erick was dealt with harsher than Osejo in the fight, in my opinion. So anyway, we go to round 8. Erick cannot miss with his right hand in round 8. And he's just bullying Osejo all over the ring in round 8. He wins that round. It got to look, honestly, guys, look. Round 9, Erick is bored. He's just beating him easily again. He's continuing to outbox and continue to land the cleaner, more effective shots. Just fucking him up. Just beating the shit out of him over and over and over again. So we go to the 10th and final round, which is the pivotal moment in the fight. Osejo is getting absolutely just clobbered with counter uppercuts, right hands, all upside his head. And it opens up a big-ass cut on his eye. He's getting a slow, methodical beating. One that might actually force him to retire from the sport soon. And then he decided to come in squared up, walking with his head towards Erick, leading with his head. Mind you, there's blood gushing from his eyes, so now that blood can potentially get on Erick. So he's being rugged, and Erick, as he's being rugged and really just putting his head in there, Erick takes his right hand, doesn't punch him to the back of the head, he just lightly cuffs the back of his head and throws him to the ground, as you guys saw in the beginning of the video. It wasn't a punch. He gets up, and then he starts saying that he got hit on the back of his head, and the referee decides to, right there with 88 seconds on the clock, with 1 minute and 28 seconds left on the clock, Erick's having his best round of the fight. He's won pretty much every round except the second round and the other round where he got every round that didn't have a point deduction. He's won pretty much, and he's winning the fight handily, on the way to having his best round in the last round, opening up a cut, and the referee decides to wave the fight off. So absolute horseshit disqualification. That round was shaping up to be Erick's best round of the fight. He was winning that one comfortably. And dominantly, I should say, and that's what it was. So he gets disqualified. I had Erick up 87-82 on my scorecard before the disqualification, and that's what I have. That's how I feel. So, even though he lost, I don't really view that as a real loss, because that was just corruption. I thought he boxed very, very well. Actually, I got to give Erick credit, because when I was there, we had a conversation that night. And I told Erick pretty much that, I was just, because you got to understand, when you go to fights, any of you guys who have gone to fights, you guys know, a lot of times when you sit close to the ring, the view is not as good, and it's not the same as like if you were to watch it on TV. So sometimes when you watch a fight on TV, it's different than when you watch it on the fight. So when I was at the fight, I got frustrated, because from my vantage point, I was frustrated that Erick was moving around so much. I felt like this is a guy that maybe he should have bullied a bit more, but the thing is, he was bullying him, just not in the exact way I wanted to. So I got frustrated and thought he could have did more. But in watching the fight now, what I can say about Erick is, man, what a great performance. He beat the shit out this dude, and I think he showed a lot in this fight. It was Erick's first 10-round fight of his career. Mind you, this is a guy that prior to this fight had only had 42 rounds as a pro. Never fought never fought an 8-rounder in his career. Oh no, he fought one 8-rounder in his career. So it was his first 10-rounder. So anytime a fighter steps up to that many rounds, it's really a big moment in their career. And I thought he showed in this fight. I think Erick, believe it or not, even in a loss, which really wasn't a loss because it was a bullshit, corrupt disqualification in which he won every round but 2. I thought this was Erick's best performance of his career. He showed in this fight that he's the kind of fighter that gets better as fight goes on. And that's the kind of fighter you want to be. I'd rather be the fighter that gets better as a fight goes on than be one of these front running ass fighters who has a lot of speed and all the cute skills, but they don't got that know-how to really dog it out in the later rounds. So there's a lot of good building blocks. Like, even though he didn't win on paper, Erick Lanzas Jr. showed winning intangibles in this fight. And I think this fight's a blessing in disguise. I think he's going to take a lot of confidence from this. Me and him are both supposed to go to training camp with Angelo Leo for the Venado Lopez fight. So he's going to be around Angelo Leo for the biggest fight of his career. And I know he's going to get better just being in that camp. And really and truthfully, I just think that, I would like to see Erick Lanzas Jr. get some opportunities on ProBox TV. I feel like there's a lot of good platforms in boxing, but I would like Erick to get an opportunity on ProBox TV because he's a ProBox TV type of fighter. He's exciting. He comes to fight. He's got heavy hands. He slowly but surely beats guys up. He just needs the platform to showcase his skills so more people know him, and that, to me, that's a perfect opportunity. So I'm gonna make some phone calls, some text messages to the fine folks like Chris Glover and Daniel Rubin. We want to get him a fight on ProBox. He deserves it. He deserves a platform to showcase his skills. This is a great performance for him. It's not going to be recognized as that because on paper he didn't get the win, but he won damn near the whole fight. And as far as Osejo, I'll say it like this, man. He was a very good fighter in his day, a good journeyman in his day, a solid contender, fringe contender back in the day. This guy at this moment in his career, and I don't like using this word for fighters, but I got to use it for him because it's appropriate. He's a coward. He's an absolute coward for how he handled this fight. Because when you get put under real adversity as a fighter, that's when you know, like when somebody really takes you to those deep, dark a couple of places, the real you comes out. And the real him came out in this fight. Every time Erick put him under real, the highest level pressure possible, he looked to the referee. He looked outside the ring. He looked at external forces to get him that victory. And that's not what winners do. That's not what champions do. That's what cowards do. So enjoy the win. Enjoy the win. I'm glad you got one last good win before your career is over. But you're a coward. And I hope somebody in Spanish, they gotta tell he's a fucking coward. Honestly. But nonetheless, I wish him the best. He wasn't always a coward. He was a solid fighter in his career. He was a coward on that night. But that's how it goes, man. That's what Erick Lanzas Jr. does to fighters. That's what Erick Lanzas Jr. does to fighters. He beats the shit out of them so badly, they start looking to the referee and they start looking to the promoters and the judges. And they need a whole country to beat Erick Lanzas Jr., right? So it is what it is, right? But nonetheless, I still think Erick has a fantastic future in the 140 division. I think he's someone that boxing fans need to pay attention to. And yeah, that's what it is. So I'm hoping, and I believe really and truthfully that this is going to be a good building block towards bigger and better things. I think this fight, coupled with the fact that he's got a daughter on the way, so that's an amazing thing. That always gives a man more motivation to just be better in life. That going to training camp with Angelo, this fight, and God willing, like ProBox TV allows Erick to fight on their platform and really light it up. Then I think it would be a win for boxing if Erick Lanzas Jr. gets a chance to showcase his skills to the world on bigger platforms because he hasn't got the opportunity because his previous promoter, I'm going to say the name. I ain't got nothing against him because he's cool with me. I'm cool with him. I got no problems with him, but this is just the objective truth. His previous promoter, Henry Revolta, who I've known for years and have nothing bad to say about as a person, as far as how they go about building their fighters with Revolta Boxing, they do that Colombia shit. They put them 5, 6, 7 fights in Colombia, and the fighters don't really learn anything. They develop bad habits, and then you throw them in a big fight. So like for example, he did it with Erick against Jerry Perez, right? And Erick got stopped by Jerry Perez. Same thing happened when he had with Luis Chucho Melendez. Chucho Melendez, 130-pound fighter, had all these fights in Colombia, right? And then he all of a sudden he goes ahead and he gets put in the fight with Thomas Matisse, gets a dubious decision on most of the scorecards and in most people's eyes, and then he can't win fights. They get put in fights they can't win because they don't have the experience, because they don't properly develop. So thankfully, we have platforms like ProBox TV. I would like Erick to go on there and get opportunities and put on a show for the fans. And because I do think he's got serious value to bring to the sport. And I really do think that and I'm going to bat for him. Fuck what anybody got to say. I'm going to bat for him. He's got a lot to offer the sport. He just needs the opportunity to show it on a platform that has eyeballs, you know, and that's where I'm coming. So nonetheless, a great performance, a lot of building blocks, and you know, hopefully a couple of good fights on ProBox TV. Maybe even bring this coward to the United States of America for a rematch, and then if not that, you know, get a couple wins under the belt, and then hopefully a good step up fight, you know, on a big platform. So that's why I'm coming. I wanted to come out here and just give my take on Erick Lanzas Jr. I want you guys to follow him. In fact, I'm gonna leave his Instagram for you guys. I want you guys to go on his Instagram. I'm gonna leave it for you guys in the comments, and I'm gonna leave it for you guys at the end of this video. Go to his Instagram, go follow him, and tell him True School Sports sent you, and go give him your support, because this is a guy that deserves your support. He fought from the second round with a fractured right hand. You know, when he goes to the gym to spar people, he don't care who he spars, anybody. I mean, this guy, Erick, let me tell you something about Erick. I'll end the video on this note, because I want you guys to really know what kind of person this is, because people don't really, fighters like him don't have he doesn't have the promotional dollars behind him, so it's up to people like me to tell his story properly. You want to know what kind of fighter Erick Lanzas Jr. is? I'm gonna tell you guys. When we were in California back in February, it was me, Erick, and his coach Eli. Shout out to Coach Eli and the fine folks at Box IQ, right? One of his coaches. We were out in LA, and Erick went and he sparred 8 rounds with was it 8 rounds? No, it was like 4 or 5. I think it was like 6 rounds. 4 to 6. I think it was 4 or 6 rounds of Jorge Zepeda, as Jorge Zepeda was getting prepared to fight Dalton Smith. So he did 4 to 6 with Jorge Zepeda, right? And then did like 4 rounds with this other kid named Jesus Delgado, who's like a 11 fight prospect himself from California, Mexican fighter, good little young fighter, right? Like 19 to 20. After he sparred, did 8 rounds there. The next day, no complaints. Went home, got rest. Next day, did 8 rounds with the Mongolian Tetsendat Erdenebat, the one that broke Ryan Garcia's ribs. So basically, to spar those guys back to back on 2 days, that shows you what kind of fighter he is. A lot of fighters, I'll tell you this, guys, I've been around boxing almost 10 years, covering the sport all over the world. I've seen fighters in gyms complain about having to spar multiple high-level guys on back-to-back days. Normally, you're not supposed to spar, back-to-back days. When I told Erick he was sparring Jorge Zepeda, he sparred Jorge Zepeda. And then when I told him he was sparring this strong Southpaw Mongolian the next day, he didn't complain, he didn't cry, he didn't bitch, he didn't moan, he didn't say, "Oh, I'm tired, I can't do it." He went in there and he did it. So he's a man's man, and he's the kind of fighter who has character, and the kind of fighter that you guys, the boxing fans, should get behind, and I hope you guys do. I really do hope you guys do. I mean, he was the first fighter in this fight. He had the True School Sports logo on his trunks, on his robe. So I got a lot of love for him, man. He's one of my closest friends in the world, and I would like to see him stop getting mistreated in boxing. He got mistreated with his previous promoters. He got mistreated in his own country, in Managua, Nicaragua. So I'm hoping you guys, the fans that love the sport, get behind him, because if you support me, you should support him. Because that's how close we are, and I played a big role in just helping his career develop this year, and I know I'm gonna play a big role moving forward. So yep, that's what it is. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Make sure you guys watch the fight and give me your thoughts down below. I want a second opinion from you guys, the boxing fans. And yeah, like I say in every single one of these videos, you could love me or you could hate me, but I'm just a kid from Dania. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. I'm at the Boxing Hall of Fame out here in Canterbury, New York. And for more great boxing content just like this video, make sure you click and subscribe right over here.